True independence is when all citizens enjoy equal fundamental and basic rights, devoid of oppression and domination. For what is the joy of independence when leaders rule like colonial masters? The elites dominate and mindlessly loot our commonwealth, and an ordinary Nigerian cannot have access to the basic necessities of life, which are food, clothes, and shelter. Our independence will only be meaningful when our leaders rule with justice, equity, and conscience. Good evening, Nigeria, and welcome to the Eagle. My name is Aisha Mohammed.
EFCC will get you anywhere, anytime.
Welcome back. On the program today, EFCC chairman calls for collaboration of anti-graft agencies in West African region. EFCC re-arraigns ex-governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, sons and others. EFCC declares Emmanuel Okereke wanted. Businessman arrested for possession of fake oil lifting documents, and as Nigeria celebrates its 55th anniversary, the Eagle team took to the street to find out what the citizens think of corruption in the present Nigeria and Nigeria of before. Sit down, relax, and enjoy the package.
For me to buy correct motor, for me to take neck manure,
Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Lamurde, has called for urgent collaboration of anti-graft agencies across West African region in the fight against corruption. Lamurde made the call at the Nasiwa Anti-Corruption Training Program, which held in Abuja. Kamali Gebi tells us more.
President Muhammadu Buhari has again stressed his determination and resolve to strengthen anti-graft agencies in Nigeria with the view of ensuring that the war on corruption is fought to a conclusive end. He made the renewed assertion at the opening ceremony of the maiden training program of the Network of National Anti-Corruption Institutions in West Africa, NASIWA, which held at the EFCC Academy, Karu, Abuja. The president, who was represented by the Secretary to the Federal Government, Babashir David Lawal, noted that corruption will always fight back, thus necessitating the need to strengthen various anti-graft agencies in the country.
Working in close collaboration with sister agencies, not just in Nigeria, but all over West Africa, the EFCC and other anti-corruption agencies have been charged to ramp up the fight against corruption. Our combined international efforts and synergy gives us a good chance to save our peoples from the ravages of corruption.
Expressing the resolve of the current administration to ensure that the war against corruption is prosecuted to the latter, he said, "The time to act against corruption is now, without waiting till when all the resources are in place."
What they seem not to acknowledge is the will of this administration to see to the war on corruption to its logical conclusion and win. God has been good to us as a nation. We have all that we need to make Nigeria great again. We have once again a historic opportunity to make it right by our teeming populace. We have to reclaim our stolen commonwealth. For neither man nor God will forgive us if we do not throw everything we have into this war and win it. I am convinced, ladies and gentlemen, that corruption is at the root of all problems bedeviling us as a nation. We are certainly not the first to recognize this, but what we are doing differently is that we are leading the charge from the front. We have firmly resolved to back up our personal convictions with a strategic plan which includes building and strengthening institutions involved in this war against corruption.
President of Nasiwa, Isufu Burema, while expressing gratitude to the EFCC for playing a pivotal role in the establishment of Nasiwa and for hosting the training, which had participants from Republic of Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Mali, Republic of Niger, Senegal, Togo, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone and Nigeria, stressed the need for anti-graft agencies in the sub-region to unite in fighting corruption. While commending the commitment of the EFCC chairman Ibrahim Lamurde in the fight against corruption and the support of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, for its unalloyed support in the creation of Nasiwa, he said, "There is need for us to eradicate corruption and deploy every effort in a very sincere manner to check corruption in our society." In his remarks, the regional representative of the UNODC, Samuel Lijagere, re-echoed the views of Lamurde, noting that it was very important for anti-graft agencies in the region to share knowledge, skills and information in the war against corruption. Lijagere said the establishment of Nasiwa could not have come at a better time because the need to collaborate to bring those who steal our wealth, flee to neighboring countries with the aim of keeping the ill-gotten wealth abroad is paramount. Joseph Kamara, Chairman Anti-Corruption Commission in Sierra Leone, reinforced the need for the reinvigorated commitment in fighting corruption. On his part, Brown Odigi, representative of the head, Democracy and Good Governance at the ECOWAS, ASN Akoro Dudu, further stressed the need to achieve the goals of Nasiwa. Earlier in his paper titled "West African Law Enforcement Agencies Must Cooperate to Win War on Corruption," Lamurde noted that such professional relationships come in very handy when bureaucratic bottlenecks and red tapes threaten to derail law enforcement activities across jurisdictions. While noting that corrupt individuals have now taken their crimes beyond borders, thus necessitating the need for such collaboration, Lamurde said there was an urgent need for anti-graft agencies across the West African region to collaborate in their concerted efforts to rid the region of economic and financial crimes.
Remarkably, the Nasiwa's initiative directly mirrors the vision of the EFCC Academy, which is to make available cutting-edge training for all law enforcement officers involved in waging a determined war on all forms of economic and financial crimes, fraud, corruption, money laundering, and terrorist financing. Ladies and gentlemen, crimes in each of our nation today have not only grown in proportion, but in sophistication, and criminals now have reaches across national institutions of borders, and can even threaten the very existence of some states. We count ourselves very lucky in Nigeria to have a government that, without prompting from any quarter, chose the determined war on corruption as its defining character. Indeed, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, has vowed that, I quote, "Corruption shall no longer be allowed to stand as if it is a respected monument in this nation." Unquote. The President promised to fight corruption is not an empty word, as we and indeed all Nigerians and friends of Nigeria can testify. He has stayed faithful to his pledge that, I quote again, "The institutions of state dedicated to fighting corruption will be given independence and prosecutorial authority without political interference."
The anti-graft czar, while commending the creation of Nasiwa, a coalition of anti-corruption agencies across the West African sub-region, noted that such a body could not have come at a most auspicious time and that the training will provide participants a veritable platform of networking and sharing of ideas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges that the new courts of criminality confront us with are not ones that can be tackled in isolation. That is why this Nasiwa initiative to bring together officers across all fields of anti-corruption to sharpen their skills is one of the best things to ever happen to law enforcement in the West African sub-region. Beyond their classroom studies, I wish to urge participants to utilize this unique opportunity to forge friendships and maintain contacts across the different law enforcement agencies in the sub-region. Such professional relationships come in very handy when bureaucratic bottlenecks and red tapes threaten to derail law enforcement activities across jurisdictions.
Other dignitaries at the event are the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Ekbonta, chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau, Sam Saba, Director Operations, Nigeria Intelligence Agency, who represented the DG of NIA, Salau Bello, a co-commander representing the co-marshal of FRSC, AG Wobin, and a representative of the Inspector General of Police, Hyacinth Dagala.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearraigned the former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, his sons and others on a 27-count amended charge bordering on corruption and money laundering. Again, Kamli Gebi is our guide.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned the former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, his two sons, Aminu Sule Lamido and Mustapha Sule Lamido, as well as Aminu Wada Abubakar and Bartholomew Darlington Agoha, before Justice Adeni Ademola of the Federal High Court, Abuja, on a 27-count amended charge bordering on corruption and money laundering. The other companies arraigned along with them were companies through which they allegedly perpetrated the fraud. They are Bamaina Holdings Limited, Bamaina Company Nigeria Limited, Bamaina Aluminium Limited, and Speeds International Limited. Lamido and his co-accused had been arraigned before Justice Evelyn Anyadiki of the Federal High Court, Kano State, on July 9, 2015 for allegedly misappropriating funds belonging to Jigawa State. Their case was later transferred to the Federal High Court, Abuja, where Justice Gabriel Kolawole, a vocation judge, granted the accused person's bail and adjourned the matter to September 22, 2015. At the resumed hearing, presided over by Justice Ademola, counsel to the EFCC, Chile Okoroma, presented the court with the amended charge dated September 15, 2015, which added Agoha, manager of Speeds International Limited, as one of the accused persons. The hearing, which commenced at about 9:11 a.m., was however adjourned briefly to allow the registry to assign a new charge number to the amended charge sheet, since the case was originally heard in Kanu. On resumption, the charges were read to the accused persons. They all pleaded not guilty to the charges. Justice Adeni Ademola thereafter adjourned till October 21st and 22nd for trial.
Cheers! What is it?
Please, keep to yourself.
Chief Urabo, I got a telephone call.
Anytime I close my eyes,
Yes.
I see dead people chasing me in my sleep.
My Jova Magadam.
Chief, is it possible for someone to become restless just because of his past deeds?
Nevertheless, unless you kill somebody dead, then the spirit will be haunted you.
Hey!
Was you all contractors?
I embezzled all the money for the roads that are now death traps, killing people every day. I approved the supplies of fake drugs on pipe and water. I embezzled the money. I dey fear, Chief.
You are supposed to fear especially now that the people of EFCC are chasing people who are doing Wuru to submit other people's money. EFCC, as soon as they capture them, straight to prison.
Chief,
Jail.
ah!
You are. Life are not just about acquire wealth, making money. When other people are getting die of hunger and neglect, be careful. EFCC are watch.
EFCC will get you anywhere, anytime.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested a 62-year-old businessman, Umar Audubigda, for being in possession of fake oil lifting documents. Olufemi Adeyemi tells us more on this.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested one Alhaji Umar Audubida, Chief Executive Officer, Universal Contractors Limited, for alleged possession of some documents of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, for the supply of crude to his American business partner, Donald Laleta, CEO, North Park, LLC. The 62-year-old suspect, who was picked up by the EFCC operatives on Tuesday, September 15 at his residence on Gumel Road, Kaduna, was in possession of fake documents pertaining to the lifting of crude by the vessels MT Antarctic, MT Sonagol Namibe, and MT Cape Bowen. The suspect, however, said that he obtained the documents from the agents to the Sule Lamido, Double Wonder, and Days Marine Services, who allegedly claimed to have crude oil for sale. The complainant alleged that the suspect had attempted to defraud him after signing a sales and purchase agreement (SPA) with him. The complainant claims that he paid the suspect, who acts as his agent in Nigeria, the sums of $8 million, $10 million, and $12 million at different times, and that he raised a letter of credit via a courier company in favor of Universal Contractors Limited to the tune of $100 million, which are being investigated by the EFCC. Olufemi Adeyemi, reporting for the Eagle.
The EFCC has declared Emmanuel Osita Okereke, Director General of the National Task Force to Combat Illegal Importation of Small Arms, Ammunition and Light Weapons, NATFOS, as wanted for jumping bail. Rolake Odofin Jolayemi has more on this.
Okereke, a former presidential aspirant under the platform of the Nigerian Liberation Party (NLP), is being prosecuted by the EFCC on a 6-count charge of impersonation, forgery, and obtaining by false pretense. He was arraigned on November 21, 2013, before Justice J. Y. Tukur of the FCT High Court, Apo, Abuja, for allegedly forging a document of the federal government titled Restricted Federal Government of Nigeria National Task Force. He is alleged to have falsely held public offices as DG and Director, FCT Command of National Task Force, through which, along with Ishmael Chinyere Nwogu, he fraudulently obtained money from sale of employment forms. Justice Tukur had granted the request of his counsel, Kanayo Okafor, requesting that he be granted bail. Okereke, who was arrested with several incriminating items, including bulletproof vests, has however jumped bail and is currently wanted by the EFCC. He allegedly operates a syndicate which maintains offices across the country, defrauding unsuspecting members of the public by selling recruitment forms for 5,000 naira in the guise that they will be offered jobs by the federal government. The EFCC enjoins members of the public with information on the whereabouts of Okeke to contact any of its offices in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Gombe, and Kano, or the nearest police station. In a related development, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has declared Kennedy Izuagbe, a former director of Societe Generale Bank Nigeria plc and managing director of Carlyle Properties and Investment Limited, as wanted. 45-year-old Izuagbe, who is being investigated in a case of conspiracy and money laundering to the tune of over 3.6 billion naira, has gone into hiding, and all efforts to reach him have proved abortive. He is linked to the several shady deals and gross financial misconducts that took place in the bank, in which several millions of naira were granted as loan without due diligence. The suspect, who is believed to have fled the country, is a native of Iviokwa village near Agenebode, Esako East local government area of Edo State. Again, the EFCC enjoins members of the public with information on the whereabouts of Izuagbe to contact any of its offices in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Gombe, and Kano, or the nearest police station. Rolake Odofin Jolayemi, reporting for the Eagle.
As Nigeria celebrates its 55th anniversary, the Eagle team took to the streets of Abuja to find out what its citizenry think of corruption in the present Nigeria and corruption in Nigeria before independence. Golden Argo is our guide on this.
The fight against corruption has been on in Nigeria since the pre-independence era. As Nigeria celebrates her 55 years of independence, it is important to assess our journey so far as regards the fight against corruption. With all the awareness and efforts of the government through various anti-graft agencies, how far have we gone? Are things getting better or worse? Join me as we find out from our respondents.
No, I don't think so. The issue of corruption in this country, since the inception of this new government, you can see that everybody is on their toes to make sure that corruption is being tackled.
But if I say corruption is on the increase, then I'm not being fair to myself and the nation as well. Corruption is reducing to the various minimum.
I would say we hasn't done so bad, even though the journey has been so tough and rough. But there's a hope for the living. We are moving forward. If other countries have gone through the trials and temptations we've gone through, and they've been able to get across, we also can get there by God's grace.
I can say that for now, the fight against corruption, we are progressing. We are really moving ahead. But you know, Rome was not built in a day. as things be now, is a gradual process. In this regime, I can say President Buhari is trying his best to see what he could do over the fight against corruption. And we hope, and all our hope lies on his promises, that in due time, the corruption will be wiped out.
Well, as it concerns the issue of corruption, is something that has been with us for a very long time, probably since the inception of the country. But I think presently what we are beginning to see, it looks like we may likely have an era where corrupt people will seriously have to pay for their offenses. Like, for example, what happened yesterday in the court, we are happy when we now have people that are not bigger than the law to come. They don't need to be begged to come to court and answer for their crimes. So it's good. I think it's getting better, and this era of change probably is doing us a lot of good.
According to the respondents, the journey so far has been good. However, a lot is still expected.
And my expectation is that everybody, all hands should be on deck. It's not his fight, it's not Mr. President's fight alone. So all citizens, all the masses, all Nigerians, me and you, all hands should be on deck in order to be able to achieve the purpose.
My expectation, and what I would also advise him to do, is to pay more attention, to diversify, to pay more attention to the youths, because if you see all these insurgents of a thing, it's primarily the youths. So he should pay more attention, he should grant jobs to the youth, he should put youths in industry. Irrespective of your academic qualification, your hands can be able to do something, and at the end of it, you should be able to give loans, soft loans to youths without asking for collaterals. You don't expect a youth to have a mansion in Maitama, so they should be able to empower youth, so that the youth of this country, when the youth is empowered, the nation is empowered automatically. And this issue of insurgency here and there would have been submerged, would have been nipped in the bud to a greater extent. And we believe that in 10 years from now, if he heeds to my advice, Nigeria will be much more better against the predictions of the Western countries concerning Nigeria.
My expectation is for a new corrupt-free Nigeria.
My expectation is that everybody should be disciplined in whatever area you are, where you are. Whatever is for the public, allow it for the public. Don't take it alone like it has been happening before. I think if such thing is going on in every parasitate, I think things will move well and we're enjoying this country. So we're happy about what is going on.
As it is clear that the fight against corruption is a fight for all, are we all willing to contribute?
In my own little way as an individual, in my office, in my working place, in my marketplaces, make sure what is duly mine is mine. What is duly the other person is his. You will not take what belongs to other person to add to your own. Your hands will be clean.
When you say my own personal contribution, is I will abide by the rules and regulation. That is all I can do.
I will be an advocate of this great change that is ongoing now. I will be an advocate in my own little way. When you come to my place for me to do something little for you, I'll go to an extra effort. I'll make an extra effort. I'll go extra mile to be able to do that thing, irrespective of who you are. Not that I'm expecting anything from you. What can you give me when we are in the era of change? Everybody should follow the bandwagon.
Nigerians express optimism for a better Nigeria. It is important to be a good ambassador of our dear country by shunning all forms of corruption, economic, financial or otherwise. Let's join hands and support the government through the EFCC for a corruption-free Nigeria. Golden Ago reporting for the Eagle.
And that's all we can take on today's episode of The Eagle. But before I leave you, we'll leave you with the words of M.F. Muzanga, who said, If you fight for yourself, you have awakened your conscience. But if you fight for the people, you will awaken a nation. Let's all join hands to make our dear country a better place. And don't forget to send your feedback to the Eagle at efccnigeria.org. You can also log on to our YouTube platform via youtube.com/official EFCC to watch our activities. You can also search for us on Google Plus at official EFCC or official EFCCNG@gmail.com. Don't forget to also like our page on facebook.com/official EFCC and follow us on Twitter at official EFCC. I remain yours sincerely, Aisha Muhammad, hoping to see you next week, God's willing. From me and the rest of the crew, it's goodbye and happy Independence Day, Nigeria.